Well, having already cruised 491 miles to get here, we ended our stay in Louisville at River Park Marina, having met up with friends and family, and the next morning I took the wheel and we headed northeast through Prospect, Westport, Carrollton, Kentucky, and many more little towns, and Madison and Vevay, Indiana, targeting Florence, Indiana, so that we could split the trip to Cincinnati into two pieces.
Here we are leaving Louisville, heading off into cloudy skies towards Florence, Indiana, and then to Cincinnati.
The Anderson Ferry, seen here, is one of two ferries that we ran across on this route. This one had been around since 1870, and believe it or not, they used to just have a rope that captains used to propel them across the river. And then soon after that, they had a 2-horsepower paddle wheel configuration, and that was literally 2 horses walking on a treadmill to power the paddle wheel. So it's a very important part of transportation around that area, getting people to and from Indiana and Kentucky. Just before the bridge, we came to Madison, Indiana, which is known by river rats like me for the Madison Regatta. I highly recommend the Rivercrest Marina at mile marker 559. They have covered slips and transient dockage, as well as really good prices on fuel and ice, etc. Go in there and see Shorty if he's still there. Also, the Rivercrest restaurant, which is floating right there on the bank, is a favorite spot for people that are visiting the town, doing some antiquing, or there for the regatta. There's a lot of memorabilia there from the boat race, as well as fried fish and all kinds of local goodies and live music nearly every night in the summertime. But our goal was to get some more miles in before dark. The next little town we came across was Carrollton, Kentucky, which is a cute little place if you like antiquing. And there's also a bar and restaurant down there, as well as Butler State Park, which is a great place with cabins for lodging and a really good Sunday brunch. You should check that out for sure. It was great to see how important the rivers are to our daily lives still, providing, of course, drinking water, but also most of the power plants are placed along the waterways so they can easily pull up barge loads full of coal and take them directly to the power plant, which turns them into energy. Trains unload coal onto these huge hoppers, which then distributes them evenly onto the barges to go from one power plant or industry to another. It's really basic, but ingenious.
We had a pretty large barge wake heading into the Markland Lock and Dam. So we are approaching Florence, Indiana. This is our harbor for the night at Riverfront. So we traveled all day since 10:30 this morning, and finally approaching our first lock of the day. Here we go.
Just 2 miles above the Markland Dam, we came up to our destination for the night at Florence, Indiana, at Turtle Creek Harbor, which was a nice little secluded harbor right off of the Ohio River. They sent a couple guys out to meet us and catch our lines, and it was just a great place. They had nice walking trails, a big camping area with lots of motorhomes and campers in there, laundromat, and good fuel prices as well. We really enjoyed it. It was very quiet. We slept well that night, and we were up early the next morning to head on out to Cincinnati. After passing a beautiful little town called Rising Sun, Indiana, we came across one of 2 floating casinos along the Indiana side. Apparently back in 1993, they allowed casinos to be built as long as they were navigable and self-propelled, in order to bring economic development to some poorer areas of Indiana and attracting other gamblers from other states. So there's these big things that look like stern wheelers tied up to the banks, which is really just a ruse to get around the law. Check out the painted on paddle wheels on this building.
Casino over there.
Cincinnati is a great city for boaters. It sits right at the confluence of the Licking and Ohio rivers, and there are dozens of marinas along the way. And of course, it is home to the Cincinnati Reds, the Cincinnati Bengals, and the FC Cincinnati Major League Soccer team as well. It's the third largest city in Ohio behind Cleveland, and the largest city in Ohio is Columbus. Newport, Kentucky is on the other side of the river, and many Cincinnatians just travel back and forth over the bridge to do things like visit the Newport Aquarium, and even the Cincinnati International Airport is on the Kentucky side. If you're traveling the entire length of the Ohio River from Cairo, Illinois to its beginning up at Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, Cincinnati is an absolute must stop. There's so many places to pull up and eat and drink, and many, many great marinas to spend the night. The one that we chose was Four Seasons Marina, which is one that I stayed in with my brother and my mom and dad when we were kids, and they used to cruise up to Cincinnati from Louisville on their big boat.
Well, mayflies are everywhere. Never seen it like this during the day. These are messed up.
We woke up and they're all over everybody's boat. They're flying around in the air. They're even landing on us. They're all over our boat, but we're planning on cleaning them off while we travel. What a nuisance.
For those of you that are not familiar with mayflies, they're about the size of a wasp, but they're completely harmless, except they make a huge mess. They usually pop up for about 2 days in May, but now they're hitting in July. After a quick cleanup, the girls moved on the boat for the next legs of the trip, and the next stop in Ripley, Ohio, a beautiful little historic town, and on to Holiday Point Marina in Ironton, Ohio, and then on to West Virginia, which will be in the following video. Until then, God bless you from the crew of Sun Chaser. We are now on America's Great Loop and on our way to Florida.